if you clicked on this video here, you're in for a very special surprise. Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you the exact script to be as successful as you humanly can be. To literally get to the top of your field, any field, I'm not talking about just poker, any field at all. This is the blueprint and the exact script I'm gonna give you right now, okay? So on one side here, I have sacrifices that need to be made, which I'm gonna go through one by one. And on this side here, I have things that need to be implemented, okay? So if you're at a place in your life where you're not as successful as you wanna be, or you're looking to get to the next level, this is the exact script. There's nothing more. This is exactly it, okay? So I'm gonna give it to you guys all in this video right here. Let's talk about it one by one. So sacrifices that need to be made. We're gonna cover the sacrifices first because sacrifices are so underrated and so important. You have to be willing to make these sacrifices if you wanna be successful and you wanna make it to the top 1% or 0.1% or 0.0000001% of your field, okay? Whatever that field may be, poker or anything else, okay? So number one, family time. You know, this is a tough pill to swallow for some people. You're gonna have to sacrifice some family time. You know, there's gonna be other people that are maybe of average success. They're gonna be spending a lot more time with their family. But if you wanna make it to the absolute top, there's no question about it. Family time needs to be sacrificed a little bit at least. And you know, so as I go through this list, keep in mind, as you're watching this, keep in mind, which ones are you willing to do? Which ones are you willing to sacrifice and which ones you're not willing to sacrifice? And don't BS yourself either. When you look at this list, be like, okay, I'm definitely willing to sacrifice this, or you're like, you know what? I'm not so sure I'm willing to sacrifice that one. You know, I want you to be honest with yourself. You could even score yourself, like, you know, how many of these, are you actually willing to sacrifice? Maybe sometimes, you know, some people might say they're willing to sacrifice something, but then their actions are different, okay? So be real with yourself. Family time, some family time needs to be sacrificed if you want to make it to the top. It's really that simple. You're not going to have time to lounge around on, you know, Sundays for 6 hours and just play with the family, or you're not going to be there every weeknight. And we're going to talk more about this in a second. Next one is Netflix and TV shows. You're like, Jack, don't take away my Netflix or TV shows. This is an important one. TV shows can kill you. They can literally kill you. And I don't talk about this enough, actually, these TV shows and the Netflixing. And I want to start by saying, I created a video recently where I talk about it, why I don't really watch TV or TV shows and stuff. And I love TV shows. I'm sure that if I've never watched any of the shows like Game of Thrones and House of Cards and Breaking Bad. I know the names because my friends talk about them, but I've never really watched these shows. I watched 2 episodes of Game of Thrones 6 years ago, and I never watched it again. And the reason why I don't watch these shows is not because I don't like them. I just know my time can be better spent doing anything else. These shows are probably excellent, and they might be shows I might watch later on down the line in my life. But for now, I don't have any interest in them, you know, because all my time that I'm not, you know, working on my craft, I want to be doing certain things that I prioritize way higher than watching any TV shows. And the biggest problem with these TV shows is you get hooked on it. How do I know? Because I hear people talking about it all the time. You're gonna get hooked on it and you're gonna end up binge watching 20 hours. You know what you could have done with that 20 hours if you studied your craft? If you studied your craft for that 20 hours, you know what you could have done? You could have figured out so much. And then the next show might be another 20 hours. You know, that's why I like movies. It's an hour and a half, then it's done. I'm not hooked. I'm not on the hook for 15, 20 hours of my time, which I put a lot of value in. I put a lot of value in my own time. I don't want to spend 20 hours, 25 hours at this stage of my life watching, you know, movies when I'm trying to, you know, be the best at something, okay? So Netflix and TV shows need to be sacrificed. Not fully. You don't have to completely sacrifice this 100%. But you can limit this to 1 hour or less every day. There's no excuse for, if you're trying to make it to the top of your field and you want to be the best, ain't nobody that is the best is binge watching, 5-6 hours of any TV show per day. It's not gonna happen, okay? So family time, Netflix, TV shows are the first two. Third one is socializing, okay? And this one is an iffy one. When I say socializing, I mean just like going out with friends. Like you can socialize and network. You know, you can socialize in a smart way and make it to the top if you're socializing to network and meet like-minded people and do that. But if you're just like, if you're just one of those guys that just hangs with the guys like, you know, 4 or 5 nights a week, that's a lot of time that you're spending doing that. And the more you do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love socializing as well, but I think you have to limit that if you want to make it to the top. Like I said, this video might not make you happy, but it's the honest truth. This is all going to be truth here. I'm not going to, you know, pussyfoot around this or anything. Like I'm just telling you what it is. And socializing needs to be sacrificed to some extent. You know, sometimes, you know, your friends are out, you gotta be like, hey man, I can't come out tonight. I gotta handle some business. I got things to do. I got things to catch up on. I got things to learn. You know, I'll catch you guys, you know, next week or whatever. You gotta sacrifice that to some extent. Video games, I don't need to, you know, elaborate more into this. Video games can be a huge time waster. And again, like I enjoy playing video games. I like playing video games. It's got to be a thing of recreation though, like a once a month thing or something. If you're playing video games every day or every, you know, or any consistent kind of basis, you can do anything else besides doing that. Unless you treat video games like as like a reward for rewarding yourself for working, for putting in the work that week or that day. If you use it as part of your reward system, then that's totally fine. And I made a video about the reward system. Some of you guys might have seen that. Probably one of my best videos, to be honest, is you know, talking about like giving yourself a reward when you're actually doing the things you say you're gonna do. And you can throw anything as a reward, and video games could be one of those. Next one on the list is weekends. Some of you guys are like, wait. I will sacrifice some of these other things, but I am not sacrificing my weekends. Well, some of your weekends are gonna have to be sacrificed if you wanna be at the top. Why? Because other people that are at the top of your field are gonna be sacrificing their weekends. And if you wanna keep up, you're gonna have to do that. You can't just be going out every single weekend, going out drinking and having a good time if you wanna be at the top of your field. That you cannot do that. Eventually in life, like I said, you can start to bring this balance back into your life, but on your climb to the top, as you're at the top and you're staying at the top and you wanna be at the top, weekends need to be sacrificed. Saturdays, Sundays, you got to put in the work. That's when you're getting ahead of people that are only working, you know, 5-day work weeks. Your weekends are the time to really catch up and really just blow past them. Not to catch up, to literally blow past them. Weeknights, another one. Weeknights. So weekends. This one is weeknights. You gotta be sacrificing some of your weeknights. Your weeknights can't be like, you know, maybe 8 p.m. You're like, all right, time to lounge on the couch and let's watch Game of Thrones until midnight and then go to sleep. You got to work weeknights. You know, you got to work weeknights. Most weeknights, you got to be working. You got to be getting ahead. You got to be putting in the hours. It's really that simple. You can't, and we're going to get to, you know, a branch of this in a second, but you can't just go out on weekends and weeknights because that's what everyone does. Then you're going to be average. If you want to be average, you can do that. Like in your field, you know, and some people might be watching this video and you'd be like, Jack, like, I don't care about being at the top of my field. I'll just be average. And that's totally fine. But in this video, I'm specifically talking about the people that want to get to the top, people that have very high standards for themselves and they want to be at the top. If you're content with being average and like not making that much money or not getting to the top of your field, or you don't have that hunger, I don't judge that at all. I think it's totally fine that you're doing that. As long as you're actually happy with that and you're not just saying you're happy. As long as you're happy with that and you don't complain, then you're in a great place. If you're content doing that, that's absolutely excellent. But if you're not and you want more out of life, which if you're still watching this video, you probably do, and I know I do, then these are the things that need to be sacrificed. And then the last two things that need to be sacrificed, one of them is downtime or leisure. So any downtime or leisurely activity, like your downtime, like let's say for example, you know, again, like let's use like a weeknight, you're like 8 p.m., you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna surf Instagram now and like just surf the web and just kind of like watch YouTube videos or just kind of, you know, whatever. You're just kind of like, you're doing these things or like you're playing on your phone and like you're surfing the internet, and then next thing you know, like 3-4 hours goes by and you're like, where did this time go? You know, where did this time go? And that time is never coming back. It's never coming back, and it'll never be back. And you gotta sacrifice sometimes the leisure, the social leisure, and some people don't want to do that. It's hard. You know, your friends are going out, and you have to say no sometimes, and just kind of stay in and work, or you know, go to the office and work, and it's gonna be hard sometimes. It's gonna test you sometimes. There's these sacrifices that there's gonna be a certain time where like, I don't want to sacrifice all these things. I want to bring some of these things back. But that's when you actually have to keep your goal in mind. What are you actually striving towards? We're gonna get to that section in a bit, so stay tuned for that. The implementing section is gonna be amazing, okay? The implementing section, I say, is like, you know, these are the sacrifices, and then these are the things that you're gonna want to start doing and implementing. And if you do all these things, I will guarantee you're gonna be top 1% of your field. Guaranteed, if you're actually gonna be doing all these things. Last thing you want to sacrifice. This is the biggest one that nobody wants to sacrifice. And it's kind of like everything mixed in one. This is the biggest one here. Comfort. What do I mean by comfort? Comfort can be comfortable emotions. Comfort meaning like just sitting on the couch, watching TV. Anything that's comfortable is gonna have to be sacrificed. Okay? Not saying you should never be comfortable. I'm not like just being a savage drill sergeant. Like you should never ever feel comfort. You should, like I said, do it in small kind of spurts as a reward, you know, for doing the things you know you're supposed to be doing. But comfort is the enemy of progress. If you're comfortable, you're probably not growing. And if you're not growing, then you know you're dying. If you're not growing, then you are dying because everyone else is getting ahead. If you're trying to be at the top, you cannot be comfortable. You can't get too comfortable. You're just like, oh yeah, I'm good enough. I make X amount of money, and like, I'm good enough. You know, maybe you're top 10% of your field. Okay, I'm good enough. Well, as soon as you start getting comfortable, somebody that's more hungry than you just comes in and just destroys you. All right, and you're getting knocked off your game, and you're just dumbfounded. You're destroyed. You know, people are just passing you left and right, and then you get to look in the mirror like, you know what? I've been too comfortable the last 6 months or a year, or a couple of years, or whatever it may be. So that's something you got to sacrifice. You got to be willing to not be comfortable. And now let's get to the best of the best part of this video here. The sacrifices are very important. I don't want to downplay these at all. See, if you can do all these sacrifices, that's going to be best. If you can sacrifice at least like 90% of this list, that's going to be good. I sacrifice every single one of the things on this list a lot, significantly. Some of them I do zero of, and some of them I do very minimal time of. So I make a lot of sacrifices myself. I'm not telling you guys to do something that I'm not personally doing. I'm preaching to you exactly how I believe that I accumulated my success. And then implementing. This is the goal you guys have been waiting for. All right. So the first thing and probably the most important one, and this is something I've yelled and preached about in all of my videos, embrace uncomfortable emotions. Okay. Embrace uncomfortable emotions. There's a saying, it's lonely at the top. There's a lot of truth to that. Okay. Not everyone wants to be at the top. Not everyone is striving to be at the top. Not everyone has what it takes to be at the top. And when you're at the top, you could feel lonely because you're sacrificing all these things that everyone else is doing. So it could be lonely, okay? You're gonna feel anxiety. You're gonna feel overwhelmed a lot of times as well. You're gonna have all these uncomfortable emotions that are gonna come up. And when you feel that, some people, they just come right back to their comfort zones. All these things, they come right back to this. And if you want to stay at the top, if you want to get to the top and stay at the top, you need to embrace those uncomfortable emotions, not run away from them. You need to feel them, and you need to run towards them as much as possible. Go towards these uncomfortable emotions. Like, how can I feel even more uncomfortable and more overwhelmed? Give me more on my plate. Challenge me more. Take as much as you can, okay? Take all the hits. And realize that it's not going to be easy. You know, it's not easy to get to the top 1% or the top 0.1%. And that's why 99% of people don't get to the top 1%, and 99.9% of people don't get to the top 0.1%. But I'm telling you now exactly how to do it, exactly what it takes. I'm telling you it's going to be emotionally painful sometimes, and that's something you have to expect on your way to the top. You have to realize this is a part of the game, okay? Second thing, study your craft, whatever it may be. If poker's your craft, you need to study your craft, whether that be watching videos, whether that be going in InstaGTO or any other solvers. You need to be studying your craft religiously, obsessively studying your craft. And you're like, how do I find the time to study my craft? The time will be there once you sacrifice all these things. This is how you're finding the time to study more of your craft, okay? So you need to study your craft obsessively every single day. You can start small, like I always say in some of my videos. Start with 5 minutes a day. Maybe just do 10 minutes a day. Maybe you can always just do 10 minutes a day. Leave it at 10 minutes a day. That's totally fine. As long as it's consistent, every single day you're working towards studying your craft and getting better and better and better. Next one, read books, okay? I made a video how I changed, the one thing that changed my entire life, reading books. It gives you an entirely new perception. It helps with anxiety. It helps with overwhelm. It helps with pressure. It helps with everything. It helps with mindset to keep you going when you read about things like this and inspiring stories and techniques that you can use in your own journey. So reading books, I can't say enough about reading books. It's one of the most life-changing things that have ever happened in my entire life. Take notes. Next one. Whether it be taking notes of the things that you're studying in your craft that you find that's interesting, whether it's taking notes of the books that you're reading, you need to take notes because the human mind is going to forget unless you write it down. Just the act of writing something down, okay, will help you internalize it into your subconscious mind. It'll help it get through into your body, into your soul, because not only you're writing it, you're using your mind to write it, your brain is looking at yourself writing it, and it's like that act in itself is going to help you retain that knowledge, because you don't want to just study in a very unorganized kind of way. You want to study in a way where it's very efficient, where your time is very efficient, you're learning what you're learning, and you're taking the notes. And then the next point, revisit the notes to train your mind. I'll revisit my notes once a month. Every single month I'll revisit all my book notes, notes that I have on my craft, like anything I want to revisit, I will revisit those notes. When I say revisit them, I mean not skim at them, like literally read through your notes, okay? Read through the notes you've made on the books that you've been learning about and the things you've written down that you want to remember and keep on the forefront of your mind. Read those things. Read your notes on the books, read your notes on the things that you're learning about your craft, and just constantly be learning. 2 more left. Be a learning machine, which comes back to what we just talked about. You need to be a learning machine, okay? You need to obsess over learning. Learn about the human brain. Learn about your craft. Learn about your competitors. Learn about everything that's possible to be learned about in your craft, okay? And that includes mindset related things. You need to learn a lot based on that too. So reading books helps with that. So learn and absorb information like a sponge, okay? Wherever there's learning, go towards that. Do it as much as possible. But there's a big but to this one. Don't learn just to tell yourself that you're learning or to feel good or that you're convincing yourself that you're busy. Actually be curious when you're learning. This is a big mistake I see people make. You can say like, yeah, I've been studying, I've been learning. But like some people are learning and they have like other things going on the side. Maybe you're watching Netflix on the side. Maybe you're doing something else. You're not entirely focused. Learn with a curious mind. I should rephrase that. Learn with a curious mind, not be a learning machine. Be a learning machine in a curious way. Strive to learn as much as humanly possible. Make that a goal for yourself. Like, I need to learn everything I can about my craft. Every single nook. I'm gonna learn. But not only learn, I'm gonna implement. I'm gonna take action on everything that I learn. Because you can learn a lot of things and you can know what to do, but not do what you know. And the second part is very, very important, because if you know what to do but you don't do it anyways, like if you learn about these concepts, and like if you learn, like you're learning now, you're watching this video, but if you don't implement any of this, it's just a waste of time, right? It's just a waste of time. You're wasting your own time if you're not going to do any of this stuff. Okay, I'm giving you the blueprint here. This is a script. And the last one here: build mental toughness by doing difficult things. So put yourself in a position where you're doing difficult things. Like I said before, put more on your plate. Embrace that uncomfort. Okay, embrace it. Be more uncomfortable. I just came back from doing an improv show where we performed in front of like 40-ish people. And that's something that's really uncomfortable. Do things like that, difficult things. Go take cold showers. Read books, even if your brain is hurting a little bit. Study your craft, even if you're tired. Okay, do those difficult things. Go to the gym, do that last rep, even when it's killing you. You can't. Your arm feels like it's gonna fall off. Do that one more rep. Do those difficult things. That's how you're gonna build that mental toughness, right? Earlier on in my life, I did some very difficult things. For me, going to the gym is like, it's hard for me to go to the gym. Like I'm like dying on the last reps and stuff, but I don't care. I do it anyways because it's difficult. Okay? So do the things because it's difficult. Okay? Just because it's difficult, do it. If it's difficult, do it. Okay? So do everything that's difficult. If you find it very hard, then you should just do that. Okay? I hope I'm getting through to you guys in this video. I hope that some of you guys might be like, if you watch this video and you're like, you know what? This is intense. Like success, being top 1%, 0.1, let's talk about being top 0.1% of my field. I'm just not willing to do what Jack is talking about here. And that's totally fine. As long as you're at peace with it. If you're at peace with it, then that is 100% okay. All right? As long as you're actually at peace with it and you're like happy and content with how your life is going, then that's totally okay. And if you're watching this video and you're like the 0.01% and you want to get there and you're not there yet with all these sacrifices and all these things I told you to implement, you're not there yet, use this video as some inspiration, okay? Not motivation, inspiration. Use this video as some inspiration and start building these habits starting now, okay? Don't use it as motivation, like you're gonna watch this video and you're like, oh shit, yeah, this is great, this is excellent, yeah, all this content, man, this is wonderful, I'm gonna do this one day. No. The number one thing, if you wanna be at the top 0.01%, you can't BS yourself. You gotta be honest with yourself and be upfront with yourself, okay? You gotta call yourself out like it is. Like, you know what? I'm not doing this stuff. I haven't been doing this stuff, and I'm gonna start doing it right now, all right? And actually doing it. I don't want you to watch this video and feel pumped up and feel, motivated. I want you to actually do something with this information. I want you to actually, not even starting tomorrow, not starting tomorrow. Do one thing today. I don't care if you get out of this video and read 10 minutes of an audiobook or go study your craft for 5 minutes. Do something that's gonna move you towards your goal and move you towards being at the 0.01% of your field, which if you're still watching this video, you probably want to be, or if you're still watching this video, you might realize you're not there and you might be having that realization. You're like, you know what? I'm not there and I don't want to be there. I'm not willing to do these things. I'm just not. And like I said, if you want, that's a choice too. That's totally okay. If that's the case, that's totally okay. Everyone has their own preferences. Everyone has their own level of success that they want to reach. For me, this is exactly what I do. And this is exactly how I live every single day. I cut out these things. I implement these things. Not to say that I cut out 100% of these things. I don't want to mislead anybody. I still go out sometimes on weekends, but most of my weekends I'm still working. I'm still comfortable sometimes, but mostly I'm throwing myself in uncomfortable situations. Leisure, I do some leisure. I watch UFC every now and again. I'll watch the Raptors playoffs games. Like you can do these things sparingly, but for the most part, these things are going to have to be sacrificed compared and relative to your peers, you know, to what everybody else is doing. You're going to have to do less of it, and there's no way around it, you know. And I'll leave you guys with the saying: there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. Okay, that's one of the best things there is. People think they're just going to fly up to success and use the elevator. You have to use the stairs. You're going to have to sweat. You're going to have to cry. You're going to have to, you know, go through some rough times. All that is coming, you know, and you're going to have to just open up those experiences with open arms, and realize that tough times are ahead. But trust in yourself to build that mental toughness through books, through meditation, through doing difficult things. Trust that you're going to build that mental toughness and be able to tackle any challenge or any hurdle that comes your way. And that's it. If somebody sees that I missed something here, this is a pretty extensive review. If you think I missed something, let me know in the comment section down below. We'll talk. But yeah, other than that, until next time, I wish you guys the best of luck. I hope this video kind of made you more clear on if you're wanting to be this type of successful, or if it's just too much for you and you don't want to sacrifice these things. At the very least, I hope you just got more clarity on what you want to do with your life, and where you want to be, and where you want to go, you know, and who you want to become, as far as, you know, success goes specifically. So I'll see you guys in the next video.